Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Victoria. My name is Reverend Joanna Drewry, and I'm replacing our Senior Minister, Reverend Carrie Hunter. I'm the Associate Minister at the Center, and I welcome you. It's lovely that you can be here with us today, or perhaps at a later time if you're tuning in. And I also would like to let you know that we are going to be physically opening the Center again on the 4th of July. So we look forward to seeing you then. So this morning, Reverend Jennifer has kindly said that she will do the opening treatment for us. And so I invite Reverend Jennifer now to do the opening treatment, if she would. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Joanna. As we enter this holy moment, enjoying the company of everyone on this call, I open to the awareness that each person on this call is the manifestation of that one supreme being called God, that all-inclusive and ever-powerful divine being that transforms the world. No one is left behind. All is included in the divine presence. And this service is unfolding in right and perfect order, no matter what it looks like. Every moment is an experience of joy and wonder, with infinite variety. And our presence and our intention in being in this service is testament to the pull of divine consciousness. And I open to even greater expressions of that manifestation, that presence of God. And the wisdom comes through spiritual talk, joy of inspiration, and the profound effect of the wisdom that manifests in our experience. With a grateful heart, I give a deep heartfelt thanks, and I surrender to the divine will. Release, let it go. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for that. It was lovely. So we are now going to enjoy some music by Darlene Haynes.
Thank you, Reverend Joanna. So as we are all muted, please join me in singing Karen Drucker's song, I Am So Blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, Darlene. Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we are so blessed. And my talk this morning is titled Allness, and it's based on writings of Eric Butterworth, who's quite a well-known New Thought writer. And he wrote, "In the beginning, allness." Zeno, the Greek philosopher, said the most important part of learning is to unlearn our errors. How true that is. As metaphysical students, you have probably had to unlearn quite a number of your formerly held ideas. Metaphysics is a way of seeing life, the universe. It's all too common to substitute intellectual knowledge for practice. Metaphysics is concerned with consciousness, feeling, attitudes. We look for proofs. And if you're not demonstrating in your life, then as Butterworth says, forget the whole thing. Metaphysics is best described as that which is beyond the physical, but maybe better to see it as between the levels of life. We can go too far beyond and see the body as unreal, but this does not resound as truth, for we are making a persistent attempt to look beyond the physical. We can become students of religion, but metaphysics has to be practical. It is not just learning codes and creeds and affirmations. We are to expect proofs. We are to demonstrate. In this human experience, metaphysics is always a part of the physical. It is always a part of the whole. Sometimes metaphysicians trace metaphysics to Quimby or Fillmore or Emmett Fox. There is some personal cultism in seeing one brand as better than another. All metaphysical systems are simply a perception or a way of seeing things. Butterworth speaks of Jesus as the great metaphysician. He was one of the great discoverers of metaphysics. He said that all I have done, you can do too. What God has done, God can do and can do for you. Metaphysics is demonstrable, and this is the repeatable Christ. The law is demonstrable, and therefore the creative process is constant and available in every time and place. Many of us were taught a religion, God in heaven above, hell and Satan below, and we have now perhaps a more omni view of God in heaven above. Perhaps in recent years, we have been exposed to a new teaching of oneness and wholeness where all things are bound together. Religions are usually presented as institutions rather than as perceptions or transcendence that you experience. The truth is that God is omnipresent. So while God is everywhere all the time, we come to a church or to this center to delve more deeply into our understanding of God. But God is present, everywhere present. Here, in a theater, in a casino, on the road, wherever you are, God is. In the Bible, we are told, in God we live and move and have our being. God does not live in shrines made by people. In God we live and move and have our being. There is a perfect whole, and we are impelled by a hidden impulse to know God through transcendence. But we can become confused and perhaps then look for a God out there somewhere. This can lead us to look for a person out there. But God is a presence, an allness, in which we all exist as an eachness. I am an expression of God, and express means to stand forth. I am the allness and the activity and the life of God standing forth as me. God expresses himself through me. Yet we have a lot of anthropomorphic expressions about God's hands, God's feet, God leaning on me, God's hand on my shoulder. The love of God is often a love of an anthropomorphic image. This is an intellectualization. It does not allow us to fully grasp the truth of Godness. Santayana says, God is a floating literary symbol. God is not to be found. God is nowhere. God is now here. God is all presence. And the only way I can know God is by understanding myself. When the British Empire was struggling with its vast territories, one of the military leaders said to Queen Victoria, I believe we need bigger maps. And I believe we need to have a bigger map. God is considered as the creator. In the beginning, God is the Word in Genesis. So the image of Michelangelo's God appears and God reaches into the void and the entire whimsical, symbolical expression of creation is formed. But we have the feeling that God created everything out of nothing. A child in Sunday school would likely ask, then who made God? Well, God does not come in because God never has gone out. As a small child, Eric Butterworth and a Catholic friend apparently used to spend hours trying to figure out how it was that God created the universe out of absolutely nothing. But we are saying in the beginning, allness, that which it evolves is always coming out of that which is involved. The universe has no end and no beginning. A beginning is a foundation and an end is an objective. Sometimes we present God as a giant Superman who created the heavens and earth. So the God on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel decided to create everything out of nothing? However, then we're led to where did God come in? Let us understand that in the beginning was allness. The universe has neither beginning or end. Beginning is what the philosopher would call the basis, the ground, the laws, the involuntary creation. You are the expression of the ultimate creative process. You may not see yourself as an expression of the wholeness. Even in the midst of seeing yourself as a partial expression, you are whole and complete and perfect as the Godness, the wholeness, expresses through you. Allness is totally present. Forgive me. Even if you see yourself as a partial expression of God, with challenges of poverty or physical disability, lack of employment, you are still a partial expression of the allness. As you know this, you're in flow of healing and growth. That which God has done, God can do. Troward tells us that wherever spirit is at all, the whole of spirit must be. Because spirit is omnipresent, the whole must be present at every time and space, all the time. We sometimes think of God as spreading himself out, and maybe the presence is a little thin where I am, because after all, he has a lot to do. There's the Middle East to look after, the global warming to deal with, and there is the potential conflict between the US and Russia and crimes in the street and opioid addiction. He's so overworked and not here after all. How important am I? Troward reminds us that the whole of spirit is present in every time and place at the same time. God is fully present right here as mind. God is with us simply because we are here. Wherever spirit is, the whole of guidance, substance, healing is present. God is fully present everywhere. The Holy Spirit is always present because it can't be absent. You don't get it at a shrine or from a group or a religion, but from your own experience. Emily Cady wrote, God is not a being with qualities and attributes, but God is the good itself coming into expression as love and power. God is not loving, God is love. Meister Eckhart said, I don't thank God for loving me because he can't help himself. God is love. God is not wise. He is not a wise and just God. God is the allness of wisdom, allness present at every point and time. God is not a healer. God is not ever going to heal you of anything. God is the allness of life. Healing is the experience in our life of coming out of the darkness of human consciousness. That God does not put illness into one or take it out. God is a constancy, a force. It's a little like saying, get gravity on the job. Gravity is a principle. God is always active. God is not a healer. God is life and present at every point and time. Be still and know that I am God. The mystical point is that I am in eachness in the full power of God. Edward Sinnott says somehow there must be present in the plants living stuff. This insistent fact confronts us everywhere in biology. God expresses in me as the natural configuration of the whole. Healing is coming out of the confusion of human consciousness. The will of God is always the ceaseless longing to express itself through life. God is like gravity. We don't invite gravity to be in action when we step off a curb. The whole of life is present into its entirety at every point of time. Healing is simply being still and knowing that God is here now in God's fullness. St. Augustine said God is a circle or sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. In any point in the universe is the heart of the universe. The universe isn't a geographic expanse, but a cosmic consciousness. The whole is present at the point where you are, and you are at the heart of the universe, always, wherever you are. You are the very center of the universe. The seed can become a tree because the tree is in the seed. So the divine potential or the Christ is present in you all the time. You can become what you want to be and pray to be because divine potential is always present in you. No new metaphysical system will assist this. The allness of the infinite process is whole. Whatever is whole, whether you can see it or not. Browning said, a broken art in the heaven, a perfect whole. A broken ark in the heaven, a perfect whole. You may see a lot of broken arcs of a perfect whole. The broken arc is a dim perception of wholeness. Whatever is whole. There's a great deal of spiritual growth involved. You are not only human, so many of us settle on being less than our best selves. You can open up a new universe for yourself. Many of us settle to be self-limited. As you think of yourself in a larger context, All things are possible for those who believe. This not only means that you can have a better job, that we can have peace in the world. All things are possible. All things. God is principle and ever present. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "When you have broken with the God of tradition and ceased from the God of intellect, then God fires you with his presence. You no longer believe in God. The last time I looked, it was still there in the church. You have a believing attitude." Someone once came to Emerson and said, "I believe in the universe." And Emerson said, "By God, you'd better." Butterworth says he always distrusts someone who says, "I love God. I love God." There's no point in saying, "I love God." This is particularly true if you hate your brother. Loving God can only be demonstrated by our loving ourselves and loving each other. Brother Lawrence coined the phrase, the practice of the presence of God. This isn't about feeling a cosmic awareness or deep meditation or a feeling of transcendence. A doctor practices medicine. You practice metaphysics. Relating all things to the God consciousness is to live constantly as if you believe that the allness of God is present at every moment in your life. That is transcendent awareness. The practice of the presence is what you do with your life. It is to live constantly with the allness of God, knowing that it is expressing as you in every aspect and every moment of your day. Practical metaphysics, or the practicing the presence of God, is you and your entire life. This is much more than meditation and reciting affirmations. You are practicing the presence. Are you doing this when you are fuming about the traffic or having a fight with your brother-in-law? When you really act as if you believe that everything you do is practicing the presence, your life shifts. There's some homework. In the beginning, allness. The most important thing about your life and your consciousness is that you understand that you are living in the divine allness. God is fully present as you. The whole of infinite creativity is in you. Take some time occasionally each day to start everything from this point of allness. Turn within and remember that you are an eachness in the allness. The whole of life is present in each and every part of your body. You don't need magic words and formulas. Forget the limitations of eachness. Just remember the allness is focused right where you are right now. The pressing out of divine life is sustaining you, renewing you. Take the time to just be still and quietly know the allness is fully present here and now. Instead of wishing for more harmonious relationships, just be still and be centered in the allness of infinite love. Take the time to know that the whole of love is present right where you are. In the beginning, allness, completeness, wholeness. The beginning is not a point of time, but is the living experience right here, right now. In the beginning is the wholeness of the universal process expressing itself as you. In the beginning, at the heart of you, you are the central focus of a point of light. Think of yourself as a point of light in the infinite light of God. You are an expression of love. You are an experience of you. You are a source of substance in the infinite flow of infinite supply. And you feel good. Just feel your oneness with the infinite. In the beginning, allness. This hour, this morning, can be a new beginning. Think of the home you are in. Think of your work or your activities for the coming week, your relationships, and know that they are all in the allness of God present here and now. The allness of God is present because you are present, and you are always in all ways the eachness within the allness. I know this truth, and I know this truth sets us free, and so it is. And so now I would like to, at this time, remind you that we are always grateful for donations to our center. You can donate online at donate@cslvictoria.org. And you can visit our website and donate through our website. And I thank you for your support for our center. And I also bless you all for your continuing to be here in virtual community until we can open again on the 4th of July. So with that, I am going to invite, no, I'm not inviting anyone to do the benediction. I'm going to do the benediction this morning. So let us just now take the time to close our eyes and turn within. And I am grateful for this community and for the love of this community. I'm grateful for this day, for all the many blessings in each of our lives. I'm grateful for the power of the teachings of New Thought and for the opening in my own heart through the power of this teaching. I open to greater expressions of creativity, to greater love, to greater goodness, to greater peace, to greater kindness. And as I know that God, Spirit, consciousness is truly all there is, I know that there is no room for fear or illness. There is no room for anything but peace and love and abundance and joy. For we are each an eachness in the allness of God. We all are created with that divine potential for infinite expression of our gifts and goodness. And through that expression of God, we are enabled to give fully of our lives to our communities, to our families, to each other. And so as we go forward into this coming week, let us hold in consciousness that truth, that glorious truth that God is all there is and God is present here and now in every moment. Healing, blessing, guiding and loving us every step of our journey. I release my word to spirit, to the law, knowing it is so, and so it is. Thank you. Good morning.